questions to ask, right? A campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
We are back for the Premier League. Thrills, spills, and more controversy than you can shake Gary Lineker at. And also, it can only mean one thing. It is the Premier League review show. And I am pleased to say, 1 second, it's coming. He's back! I've got him! Ladies and gentlemen, he's here. Look, it's actually him. It's actually my co-host. He's been away for a while. Nathan, how are you, sir?
Boy, new job settings and that, so I've been a little bit busy. I've been preoccupied with a new job. You know how it goes, but It's good to be back on my rightful spot as co-host because I noticed a few people have tried to hold it down, but there's only one co-host on this show, and that's me.
There it is.
But I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
We do thank. I'm very, very well, thank you. We do thank Rich, JC, and Dan for filling in whenever they've been able to. But solo shows are over, I hope. Right.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that.
Right. Okay. So coming up on tonight's show, we've got all the games from the Premier League weekend just gone, including games such as Leeds and Brighton with their 2-2 draw, Bournemouth and Liverpool, and of course Arsenal beating Fulham in the London derby. But we're going to get straight into it. We're going to go down to the south coast to perhaps no one had this. No one had this on predictions. AFC Bournemouth 1, Liverpool 0. Philip Billing scoring the only goal. Well, RIP to Liverpool's European run. We hardly knew ye. You were alive for a week. Now you're dead. Oh boy. Oh boy, was this embarrassing. To go from 7-0, Cloud 9, or Cloud 7 if you want, to that. Oh dear. Oh dear. Nathan, your thoughts on this absolutely shocking result?
I mean, Liverpool are the definition of someone not knowing their saver meal drinks. 1 week they buy 7-Up, the next they buy Cherry Coke. No, sorry, not just Cherry Coke, but Cherry Coke Zero.
Oh,
I mean, the thing is, a lot of people will look at this result at face value and say, how did Liverpool lose to Bournemouth? Very simple. Liverpool don't treat Bournemouth the same level they treat Manchester United. Bournemouth are fighting for their lives down the wrong end of the table. When you're at home and you're in that dogfight at relegation, every single opportunity that you get to score a goal against the big teams, you have to grab with both hands. And let's be real, if Liverpool had turned up and taken that game seriously, I'm aware that Salah missed a penalty, but still.
It was a shocking penalty too.
You don't win 7-0 against your biggest rivals 1 week and then decide to drop the ball the following week. That's not European contending form. That's not even top 4 contending form. Now, obviously, Liverpool have had a very, very, very poor season by their standards, and there is a lot of questions of Klopp's 7-year itch. To be fair, it looks like every bit valid. But people are focusing too heavily on Liverpool. I'd actually like to give Bournemouth their flowers here because even though no one in their right mind expected them to win, that's when you need it most. When everyone writes you off as the last dog in the race, and you're the only dog that gets past the finish line, you deserve your moment in the sun. You know, bear in mind, in the reverse fixture, this was a 9-0 demolition.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, it was.
If anything, Liverpool have to say to themselves, didn't we beat this lot 9-0 at the start of the season? Yet Bournemouth, we know how it feels to lose 9-0 to Liverpool at Anfield. It ain't fun, but it's even sweeter when you upset the apple cart and give them a chin check. Alan Pardew, FA Cup 1990. I had to put that in there. Pause.
Had to be done.
Pause. Anyway, moving slightly on.
Yep.
Philip Billing, you know, he does exactly what you need him to do. He's there in the moment that Bournemouth need him. Massive 3 points for them. Are they going to survive? I mean, it really would depend on their running, and also you got to look at the team, how they've played against the teams around them. Like we have to look at when they played our team, Crystal Palace, New Year's Eve. It said 2-0 on the scoreline, but honestly, it could have been more had we actually turned up on that day.
Yeah.
Yes, underlying we won. It's the last win we've seen the team win. But you got to be real and say that was two poor teams, but one was slightly less poor than the other.
Mm-hmm.
But in this game, because I do want to give them their flowers, they weren't pretty. They weren't great to watch. It wasn't a Premier League classic, but it was a firm reminder that even if you're big Liverpool, big City, big United, big Arsenal, if you don't take a team seriously, they can upset you.
Yep.
So credit to Bournemouth. Massive 3 points to them. Liverpool, they got to go again.
Well, we're going to stay with another Merseyside club who actually did win their game. Everton won, Brentford 0. Dwight McNeil scoring in the very first minute of the game, and Everton hanging on for that. Nathan, we'll come to this in a little while, but I really want to focus. We'll focus on Everton under Sean Dyche. Do you see them staying up?
You see, his track record would say yes. He has got a
Mhm.
very good record of keeping teams up, with the exception of getting relegated twice with Burnley.
Mhm.
But having said that, his job at Burnley was nowhere near as intense as the job here at Everton.
Yeah.
At Burnley, his mandate was to keep them in the league.
Mhm.
At Everton, his mandate should be challenging minimum for Europa League football every season. A club the size of Everton should not be in the relegation picture. Now, obviously, they put themselves in this position, so nobody can turn around and say, oh, well, it's this club's fault or that player's fault. Everton as a football club have bought badly, they've sold badly, and they've hired badly in terms of managers. So it's a mess of their own making. However, when you look at the appointment of Sean Dyche, you've got to say to yourself, right, he wouldn't be everyone's first choice as a manager. Nobody wants to go out there and go for a Sean Dyche, a Neil Warnock, an Alan Pardew, a Sam Allardyce, a Roy Hodgson. They're not pretty names that make you think, bloody hell, we're going to play great, expansive attacking football. You're thinking,
Mhm.
oh, boy, Brexit, god-awful, just grim football, but it's effective. It keeps you in the league. Now, obviously, I've heard a brilliant quote, a brilliant attribute put to Dyche, which is that he's a debt collector, which I found hilarious because you're looking at it thinking he really is good at collecting receipts because, as I said, Everton as a football club, regardless of where they are now, should
Yeah.
not be in the relegation picture. But it's a mess of their own making. It's literally their own fault for signing players that were nowhere near as good enough and putting them on crazy contracts where nobody wants to touch them. So, Everton really have themselves to blame. And bear in mind, if they do get relegated, that new stadium at Bramley Moor Dock, that's going to be a really big white elephant hanging over them if they remain a second-tier club. Because if you do get relegated, moving into a new stadium, like West Ham were lucky that when they moved to the London Stadium, they were a European contending team at Upton Park. But Everton cannot afford to drop into the second tier for minimum more than 1 year.
Yes.
You might get away with it for a year, but more than that, they could be the next Leeds. So it's imperative that Sean Dyche is backed in the summer should Everton stay up, because otherwise it's a short-term fix for a long-term solution in my eyes.
Okay. Thank you very much for that one. We're going to move on to one of the more exciting fixtures. This game, Leeds United versus Brighton, 2-2 draw with Patrick Bamford. He's alive and well. He scores, but not before Alexis McAllister with yet another goal this season. He scores in the 33rd minute. Bamford levels it up 7 minutes later. And then Jack Harrison has a bit of a nightmare. So in the 61st minute, he scores an own goal, but he does make up for it with, I will say, goal of the weekend, or at least one of them, with a stunning equaliser 12 minutes from time to earn Leeds a point. Leeds, though, not looking good for them at the moment because obviously they are also one of the other clubs in that relegation slump. They're in there. They're hanging around the relegation zone. Brighton, on the other hand, going strength to strength. Obviously, big game for them tomorrow night. You'll find out why later on. Obviously, because the other fellas will be doing the Brighton preview show.
Yeah, looking forward to 90 minutes and getting absolutely hammered. That's going to be fun to watch. Oh, wait, I'm working till 9 p.m. I don't have to tolerate it. Lucky me.
Whereas I might, if I can find a good enough stream, might be live streaming my reactions to it. And maybe we might have the other fellas with us as well. But Leeds, I want to talk about Leeds. Are they going down? I'm going to say yes. I will get into reason why in our discussion segment later on in the show. Brighton, will they get European football? It remains to be seen. They've got challenging fixtures. It's not an easy race, but like I said, we will talk about that later on. We're going to go away from Leeds and off to the King Power Stadium, where it does look like the pressure is slightly coming off of Graham Potter's shoulders, because yet another win here for the Blues. Ben Chilwell scores in the 11th minute and does get the ire of the Leicester crowd with a celebration in front of them. Patson Daka levels it up at 39 minutes, but 45 plus 6. I'm looking at this and I'm just rolling my eyes. Kai Havertz in what would be the 51st minute of the first half scores to put Chelsea into the break 2-1 up. Mateo Kovacic scores in the 78th minute to pretty much assure 3 points. And then Wout Faes, I believe he's a centre-back. He's a centre-back?
He is.
He is a centre-back, yeah. He gets sent off in the 87th minute, which is going to really cost Leicester. Their squad depth is not the greatest this season. They've made up for it when they can, but it might mean that they're going to have to push back Tielemans into a more defensive role for their next few games. Graham Potter, he does look like he's coming through this crucible. I called it a crucible a couple of weeks ago when it did look like Chelsea had hired the wrong man. They had just lost to Dortmund in the first leg of their Champions League game. Their league position was mid-table, and strongly mid-table. They didn't look like they were going to go for Europe. But now, with another 3 points in the bag, that gap is coming down ever so quickly, and it does look like he's got his lineup. This massive squad has now got a lineup involved. But it's still not over, because obviously this is a team that should be winning trophy after trophy after trophy. They've got the money to buy all these players that can win these trophies. But I'm not going to lie, this is not good enough still for Chelsea. They should not be 8th, 9th, wherever the hell they are. They're 9th. They should not be 9th. It's crazy to say that when they won the league and then they had their huge nightmare season and they only finished inside the top 10, only just. This is starting to look. There's a resemblance of this. Hopefully they can turn it around, because you don't want to see a team of that caliber, with the caliber of talent that they've got, floundering around in mid-table, being dropped down by teams like Fulham, Brentford, and Brighton. That's embarrassing. Leicester we'll talk about later on. We're going to stay with the London team, but we're actually going to go from Leicester to North London, where it does look like Tottenham Hotspur are increasing the pressure on the top 4 race with a strong 3-1 win over Nottingham Forest. Harry Kane getting 2 goals inside the first half before it being wrapped up. Nice little bow by Heung-min Son in the 62nd minute. It does look like that those two are back in firing form, especially after what has been just, or it's been from an outsider who isn't a Tottenham fan, watching expressions has been comedy. Lung-busting comedy is what I will call Tottenham's reactions.
It's just
Because
Tottenham being Spursy, Nicky. Let's just
it
call a
is.
spade a spade. It's just
It
pure
is.
Spursy.
No more trophies for them this season. However, they can still push for Champions League football. Nottingham Forest, away from home, shocking. At home, they are looking like they are unbeatable. So I don't think they can fault themselves for this. They're coming up against a team that has just now got their manager back. They need to push for fourth. They really need Champions League football at their stadium. But I do want to talk about the meme of the day, Richarlison. So in his Champions League I think it's post-match interview, said he wasn't getting enough minutes. He didn't feel like he was getting respected at the club. He scores, celebrates, he does the shushing celebration, almost maybe firing back at Antonio Conte. His goal gets ruled offside. You are a meme, sir. You are a meme. Enjoy that.
It's Tottenham being Spursy. Let's be clear about this.
It. The question of this game is Antonio Conte. Has he been listening? Will he be listening to the clash? Should I stay or should I go? Players have reportedly, now there's a lot of rumors going around that a lot of the players who were around during the Poch era asking him to come back to the club. I don't see Antonio Conte in the Spurs job next season. Do you, Nathan?
I don't think he'll be listening to the clash because I think he's listening more to Will Young. I think I better leave right now. That sounds more like Conte, to be honest with you. Terrible dad joke alert. Just so you know.
Yay, we're back.
Yeah.
It's Nick and Nate with the terrible jokes. Woo.
Yeah.
Right.
It's got to be done. But to answer your question seriously, if I'm Antonio Conte, I just take the payday and run because Pochettino couldn't win a trophy with the football he played at Tottenham. And he had to work with effectively little to nothing in terms of player recruitment and transfer funds because Tottenham were building that new stadium. Conte realistically needs ready-made teams to win trophies. He had the same thing at Chelsea. He had players that had won the Premier League before he walked into that job. Yes, when he was at Inter Milan, he didn't have teams that had won the Scudetto, but he had players that had won it at previous clubs like RHEA Nainggolan and a few others. At Tottenham, they've won an Audi Cup. And that's not me throwing shade at Tottenham, but let's be real here. Not many of their players have won major trophies outside of Lloris winning the World Cup with France. At club level, I can't name many that have won trophies off the top of my head. Now, maybe there is one or two, I don't know. But that's what I'm trying to say is that you look at some of the players that are there now, and I don't think any of them have lifted major silverware at club level. Maybe at country level if you're Hugo Lloris. But if I'm Conte, I would just wait to the end of the season and take the payday because, quite frankly, he's done all he can. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have the players he needs and the money he needs to actually make Tottenham a serious threat to the established teams in and around them. Because let's be clear, Tottenham got to this point because they had the stadium to be built off the back of it. But now they're not seeing the fruits of it because for years and years and years, they've over-relied on Harry Kane. They've over-relied on Heung-min Son. Yes, they've got Kulusevski. But think about it. If any of those three are out of the team, they're not really blessed with players that make you think, Tottenham will be fine. They're thinking, hang on, they could. So with Conte, he'd be mad to leave any time before the end of the season. Why jeopardize a guaranteed payout? That's what I would say.
My second question, obviously with no more trophies at Tottenham Hotspur, yet again, Harry Kane is the question of the day. There's been a lot of rumours persisting, again, that he is going to put in a transfer request. He's going to leave next season. You look at the Premier League. Pretty much, there's only one club who most likely will go in for him, who need a striker, and that being Manchester United. Obviously, they'll be losing Wout Weghorst. He'll be going back to Burnley, which, on a strange note, that's back-to-back Premier League seasons for him because they're coming back up. Good on you, Weghorst. Good on you. You get back-to-back seasons. Will we see Harry Kane in a Man United shirt next season, Nathan? Your opinion, please.
From his perspective, you'd have to say hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Because as England captain, he needs to play at a consistent high level, and Tottenham at the minute aren't doing that. It's all well and good that they beat Nottingham Forest, but let's be clear, AC Milan aren't exactly at their almost almighty best in the Champions League, and Tottenham still couldn't get the job done. They didn't really put up much of a fight in that game. If you're Tottenham Hotspur, you would do everything in your power to keep Harry Kane here, but then again, how much false promises can you make on a man before he says, you know what, nah. Because realistically, Harry Kane alone cannot win Tottenham a trophy. And therein lies the problem that Tottenham faces, that they're overly reliant on individuals rather than an entire squad of players. At Manchester United, there's been a culture there, regardless of who's the star, that there's always players in and around that can get you over the line. You look at United's famous treble-winning team of '99. Who scored the all-important goal in that final? It wasn't David Beckham. It wasn't Paul Scholes. It was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who was not, by any stretch of the imagination, the first name on the team sheet. And I know I'm aware this is a different era of football, but to bring it back to your question with Harry Kane, if I'm Harry Kane, I'm doing everything I can to get out of Tottenham Hotspur at the end of the season.
Fair enough.
Because as England captain, he needs to be playing at a high level and win minimum an FA Cup or a League Cup at a minimum. And that's just the cold, hard reality is that Tottenham have systematically failed themselves and him by not adding quality to every position on that pitch. You look at Tottenham as a football club and you say, they should be doing a lot better than they are. But their owners have decided for a number of years now to say, oh, it's okay, we've got Hugo Lloris. He'll be fine. It's okay, we've got Heung-min Son. He'll do fine. We've got Harry Kane. He'll do fine. But they're not thinking, do you know what? We might need a striker to take the pressure off Kane. We might need a left back to take the pressure off Ben Davies.
The worrying thing is who replaces Harry Kane, because I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not privy to the discussion.
Oh, I have a recommendation for them. He's good for a goal a season. Jean-Philippe Mateta, given over free of charge. No fees need to be paid. We'll drop him off. No issues.
Well, you heard it here first, Buzz. You heard it here first.
I'll throw in Jeffrey Schlupp and Jordan Ayew as a complimentary gift as well.
That's just mean.
Oh no. If I wanted to be mean, I'd mention Jordan Much. Even I wouldn't wish him on them. So, you know.
Fair enough. Right.
Moving on.
We're going to quickly talk about this one. You can also go back, watch the review, watch all the fan cams of the reaction to Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. Watch also the player ratings as well with Rich JC and the chairman himself. Haaland scores again. He's getting ever so closer to that goal record. It looks like it's going to go. Obviously, the walls are coming down around that massive, massive goal record of Salah. I want to say it's Mohamed Salah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Mohamed
Salah. Just quickly on this one.
Go for it.
Everyone wants to point out Palace's lack of attacking threat. No shots on target for a third game in a row, which again is something that was brought up on the review. So make sure you check out the match reaction, which you'll get a much more in-depth look at the game. But I have to say, some of those refereeing decisions in that game really peed me off.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. There were a few we got away with that we shouldn't have. So I'm not remotely saying it was strictly all City here, because that would just be a lie. But a couple of challenges put in on Palace players went unpunished that were worse than the challenges that were punished for Palace, where Milivojevic got the ball and somehow got booked. Second game in a row against the big team at Selhurst Park, our player gets the ball, gets a yellow card. If they got the ball, surely it's not a foul, though. Or did I just completely forget that they've changed the rules all of a sudden?
Well, that question is a very, very big part of a game that we will talk about in a little while. But yes, I'm not gonna lie. I'll give my little tiny review. Everyone is focusing on the fact that, oh yeah, we're the first team in 3 consecutive Premier League games to not register a shot on target. Who cares? Who is this sad to focus on a stat that I don't care? I genuinely do not care. Oh yeah, but you've not even shot. Oh, do me a favor. It's Man City. They're going for a title. I'm not gonna lie. Anyone who thought that we could come away with 3 points or even 1 point from this game, come on, come off it a little bit. Like let's relax. I mean, granted, I know we've given Man City some good games in the past. This is a Man City team that is angry. Like these lot were fired up. Constant chances. Guaita for me, well done. Well done. You had a brilliant game in trying your level best to save all those shots. Obviously, the penalty got put away. It's a soft penalty. It was a penalty. It's one of them annoying ones. But oh well. We move on. We've got a bigger game coming up tomorrow. Focus on that. Right. Staying in London. We're going to move to a London derby, West versus North, and this game was over from the get-go. Arsenal, strength to strength, clean sheet, 3-0 win. All the Gabriels are back because we have the centre-back, Gabriel, scoring. We have Martinelli scoring, and of course, the return of Gabriel Jesus into the team. It is looking good for Arsenal. It is looking good. Strength to strength, as I just said, for them. This game was wrapped up by halftime. Fulham, however, can't put themselves down too much. They are in perhaps one of their strongest positions ever since I think the last time they qualified for the old UEFA Cup. I think it was it the UEFA Cup when they went on that run?
No, it's Europa League.
It was Europa League when it was
Okay. The final. They were runners up in 2010.
Yes, that amazing run. Well, 12, 13 years later, look at where they are. It looks like they are one of them strong contenders for at least Conference League. So don't put yourselves down, Fulham. This is a much better team than yours. Focus on the next game, like we are. Arsenal, however, absolutely immense performance here by the Gunners. And I'm not going to lie, 12 games to go. 12 games. Also, little fun stat here for you. This win for Arsenal does now mean Crystal Palace are out of the title race, guys. Well, we go again next season. It's a shame. We are mathematically beyond the reach of Arsenal. That's a shame, isn't it, Nate? We'll try again for the title next season, eh?
Yeah.
That
I
face.
don't know how
Oh
we'll
my
cope
god,
with
that is a straight face. Oh god.
Yeah. So
Well,
to be honest with you, I just want to get this season over and done with, to be honest with you.
well, Arsenal fans certainly do just want game 38 now and get that title once again. It does
I
look like
would
silverware.
point out, though, that if it goes Pete Tong at the Etihad, they may need to put the champagne on ice because they still have a few games to go before they can start popping the champagne bottles. It looks good
Of
at the
course.
moment,
Of
but
course.
if it goes wrong at the Etihad and the gap closes and they get overtaken, all of a sudden, all that talk of the title, it could go completely Pete Tong. Now, I hope they do win it because it would be great to see Arsenal win it for the first time in a long time, but we've seen this happen before with Arsenal.
Don't you mean if it goes right at the Etihad? If it goes Pete Tong at the Emirates, don't you mean?
No, they played them at the Etihad.
They've still got to play them.
They still have City play Arsenal at the Etihad.
I thought they've had so many games this season. I cannot.
They played each other in the FA Cup. That's probably what you're thinking about.
No, I thought their game had come and gone. How about?
No. So
that's going to be exciting to see.
So they play each other on the 26th of April. It's an 8:00 kickoff.
That's when it happens.
So
that is the title deciding game.
between then and now, Arsenal would have to play. Well, you know who they play on Sunday. No price of guessing that. But they've got Leeds after that, then Liverpool, then West Ham, then Southampton, and then it's Man City. So there
I'm
are a
not
couple of
gonna
games in there that
lie.
they could come unstuck. Bear in mind, none of these games would be an easy given.
No, that's not an easy given, but you will have to say it's an easier run.
On paper, yes.
On paper,
But
there are some
with that
winnable
being
games there.
said, if Arsenal do what Arsenal are famous for, which is get ahead of themselves, one slip up and Man City have the door opened for them behind them, it could all change. Now, Arsenal could absolutely smash it up until that City game. We don't just know
Yeah.
yet. But if you look at Liverpool's running before they play Arsenal, they've got Liverpool on the 1st of April because they don't play until because they're in the FA Cup the weekend after this one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's Southampton away, Leicester at home, Brighton away, and then it's Arsenal at home. So City have got a pretty hard going run in there. So it all depends on how City react to whatever goes on with Arsenal. Anyway,
Champions League
people, we don't mean to keep you too long, so we'll move on to the next game.
Yes, we will.
The man who loves a red card more than Sergio Ramos this season. I never thought I'd see the day.
So, Nate,
escapes one at Selhurst Park, gets one against Palace at Old Trafford, and undeservedly gets one in this game where I personally don't think it was a red card. I'm amazed that it was given because I'm thinking that's as soft as you can get. But then again, VAR doesn't make sense anymore. So it is what it is.
The ball. This is what I mean. This was the point that when I said about Palace players getting a booking for getting the ball under a challenge. Casemiro got the ball from an angle. Yes, certainly it looked like a bad challenge, but man got the ball. How is this a red card? Answers on a postcard.
And you know what's even mad about it? It's not even a 3-match ban; it's a 4-match ban.
It's a 4-match ban. That's and what it is. I believe it's still under. I believe they did put in an appeal.
I don't see them overturning it though, because you know how the Premier League likes to work. But
yeah,
funnily enough, if you look at the 4 fixtures, he's set to miss if it doesn't get overturned. Newcastle away. Ooh. Brentford at home. Okay, they could probably survive without him for that one. No disrespect, Brentford. We know that Brentford are no mugs. Everton at home. Yeah, they should be okay without him for that one. And then Nottingham Forest away. Could be sticky because, as you said, Forest are good at home.
And well, that opens the door obviously for Scott McTominay to come back into the team. So we've got McSauce back.
Or you've got Fred.
Exactly. So,
but in fairness to Casemiro, if the ban was to be upheld, so it was kept, he'd be back for Chelsea, which would be a massive time to bring him back at Old Trafford for Chelsea at home. But in terms of this game, Nicky, because I know we don't want to keep the people too long.
Yeah.
Was it a red card? No, not in a million month of Sundays, to be truthful. I mean, if I was a Manchester United fan, I'd be saying to myself, that's a red card, but so other challenges weren't. VAR, make it make sense. The math ain't mathing. But do we really have to talk about this game? It's just the battle of who's less cracking carrot and blue. Like,
that was exactly what I was going to say. It's the Claret Derby, and it's 1-1. Well, right. Here's what I'll say about this game. West Ham need a win somewhere. They need a win somewhere. They need to get 3 points because they are slipping. And that win needs to be in this league, the Premier League, guys. David Moyes, hear me out. The Premier League, not the Europa Conference League. You're getting them mixed up.
Provided said win does not come at Selhurst Park in a couple of weeks, I am all for this because I do not want to see the return of a certain professional football club.
Yes, exactly. So, West Ham obviously prioritising their European run, but I'm not going to lie, if they're playing Europa League football in the London Stadium whilst they're in the Championship, lol. Major lols. That is hilarious.
They could be playing Millwall next year in the Championship and then have to play in Europe.
No. Oh, that I'm not gonna lie. That's going to be fun to see. Right. That's all to say about that. Ben Rama and Watkins scoring the goals here. This game, however, cracking game. Absolutely cracking game. Right. Alexander Isak scores for his first game in 5 games. Scores just before the half-hour mark. Well taken goal. Congrats to him. Hwang Hee-chan levels it up with 20 minutes to go. And then the talismanic Miguel Almiron, yet again, with a cracking goal, scores it, and Newcastle celebrate like they've just won the league. Rightfully so, because this is a win that pretty much will say Newcastle will be playing UEFA football next season. This is European football for them. So congratulations to them. It's not over yet. 12 games to go. Let's just say it. But yeah, Wolves, right below us. Level on points, I think. Yes, the level on points. It's kind of hard to talk about Wolves because you don't know which way they're going to go. They're not exactly. We always have a saying here on Eagle Eyed Football that it's not healthy being a Palace fan. It can't be healthy being a Wolverhampton fan either, because 1 week you win, 1 week you lose, 1 week you draw, next week who bloody knows?
At least they can see their team win, because I think by the time Crystal Palace win a game, I'll be dead, you'll be in a wheelchair, and JC will probably still be looking like he's 45 years old, because I just don't see it happening for a couple of years at this point. It's
37 minutes. I won that clip. 37 minutes. Wow. I'm not involved. I'm not involved. I didn't say it. I'm known for player slip-ups, not atting. Well, no, I at teams, don't I? I fight fan bases, don't I? So.
No, you just tend to pick fights with fan bases that clip you. But this is just me pointing out how bad we are. This is not an attack on members of the team, because let's be real. If Palace had 180 minutes to score a goal in football, they'd still probably score an own goal, more than likely score a goal. That's how generous we are lately.
Right. That is the Premier League games for this weekend. I do want to highlight, before we go into our discussion part, Baller of the Week is automatically. I've already done this yet again. David Brooks, AFC Bournemouth player. Now, this man obviously got diagnosed with cancer. It looked like he had to step away from football. His entire career was held under a massive question mark. This weekend was massive for Bournemouth and for this man, David Brooks, because for the first time since his diagnosis, he was involved in the team. And obviously they got the win as well, which must meant even more to him. So congratulations, David Brooks, to coming back. Congratulations to him, his family, his friends, everyone. We here at Eagle Eyed Football proudly award you Baller of the Week, because you kicked at cancer's ass. Congratulations, sir. You are 100%. Baller of the Week. Nathan, please give me your Brick of the Week. You were in charge of Brick of the Week this week.
Oh, Brick of the Week. That's a very good one, because if I wanted to be very truthful, I could say VAR, because
let's be clear.
No. Bear with me. Let's be clear. VAR is having a mare upon a mare lately.
I've got one thing. Wasn't the Oscars last night?
Yeah, the Oscars were I think the night before.
And the nominees for Brick of the Week are. Sorry, had to be done. Terrible joke.
I could also mention the Oscars, because I think Angela Bassett was robbed of Best Supporting Actress, personally speaking. But credit to Jamie Lee Curtis, she did deserve it. But I'll give it to VAR for Brick of the Week, because that Casemiro red was, wow.
VAR. Right. VAR. You've got more title. You've earned Brick of the Week more times than Ric Flair and John Cena have won the title. Good God. You see this? Brick of the Week, stop winning it. Stop. I've got to give it to other people. Good Lord. Right. Brick of the Week goes to VAR. I haven't got enough fingers and toes to count how many times they've earned this.
Well, to
Right.
be fair, Nicky, you're not from Norwich, so I'd be amazed if you did have enough fingers and toes.
Okay. Let's I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna laugh. What do you mean I'm not laughing? I'm not laughing. Right. So, little thing for you. Here's a new segment for you. So, The Undertaker and Kane are called the Brothers of Destruction in WWE. Behold Nathan's absolute cringe when I say this. Welcome to our new segment, The Brothers of Discussion.
Okay, people, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. The Premier League Review Show is officially cancelled. It's on hiatus indefinitely. Just end the stream, Dave. End the stream.
41 minutes, let it be known. Just
Brothers
for
of
clipping purposes.
Discussion. What have I got myself into?
Right. And then for just a quick note, just for JC and RHEA, because they do amazing work on the TikTok. If I can request another TikTok, it was at this moment. Or you can see his exact moment where his heart breaks. That should be done. Right. The Brothers of Discussion this week is The Race is On. So, here is the Premier League table, guys. Isn't it nice? We should be in there. But unfortunately, life, it's not looking good for us. So, if I can do right, so we're going to focus on. You can't even see the points. Good Lord, what is going on with me? Right. Arsenal and Manchester City. We're going to focus on the various races for the various stuff that you can earn gloriously, and stuff that you're going to get relegated. So the title race between Arsenal and Manchester City. There are the stats, the key stats. They've both played the same amount of games. Arsenal with their 21 wins over Man City's 19, 3 draws and 3 losses to Man City's 4 draws and 4 losses. And the goal difference in favour of Manchester City. 5 points, however, are the difference. Nathan, actually, they've got 11 games to go. So 11 games, 33 points up for grabs. So unfortunately, Arsenal, you can't quite do the triple figures. A maximum of 99 and a maximum of 94 for Arsenal and Manchester City, respectively. Who do you see raising that trophy? Do we see Manchester City, I think it's equaling the record this season, or is it breaking Manchester United's record of consecutive titles?
United won it 3 times between 07 and 09.
Man City have won it twice.
City would equal it.
Yeah. Because they've won it twice in a row now.
Yeah, because they won it. Because Liverpool won it, then City won it. Then, so it would be their 3rd consecutive title.
Yeah. So,
I mean, see, the thing is, right, if you look at the table as it is now, you can clearly see there's a 5-point gap in Arsenal's favour. So naturally, you'd assume, well, Arsenal have the gap advantage, so they should be winning the league. However, Manchester City have been here and done it before. They've had to come back against the Liverpool team that had a gap over them at the same stage of the season a few years ago. And once City got on that mad run of form, there was no stopping them.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, we all know that the game at the Etihad will be the pendulum swinger. If Manchester City come out of that with a win, then all of a sudden it's advantage City and it's pressure on Arsenal, because the psychological effect to losing such a crucial game could send Arsenal into a tailspin. Now, on the flip side, if Arsenal come out of that game from the Etihad with the win, that will give them all the momentum and all the power to say to themselves, right, it's in our hands. It's on us now to get the job over the line and not let it slip, excuse the pun. Because we've seen before, when it's come to those crunch games in the Premier League, we saw in 2014, in the title race of 2014, Liverpool had to beat Chelsea and Palace to win the league. They lost to Chelsea, drew with Palace. We won't really go into the 3-3 draw because it didn't really matter. But you look at the impact of that Chelsea game. Let's say Liverpool had won that Chelsea game. The Palace game means nothing then. It would just have been another game for them to win. It's because they lost that game, and obviously the Gerrard slip and everything. The psychological effect played a part in what happened at Selhurst Park a week later. Nobody saw that 3-3 draw coming because everybody thought, yeah, Liverpool should win this, to be fair. We'd nothing to play for, so we weren't thinking, oh, let's just upset. So you would look at Arsenal now and say it's in their hands. It's of their own making. If they're not prepared to get the job done, City will take it off them.
Okay.
So it's on Arsenal to step up at this crucial time and say, right, we're here to win this title. Can they do it? Yes. Will they do it?
Too early to tell?
No. Ask me after they've played City. That would be the best time to say it because right now, anything can happen between now and the 26th of April is what I would say. I don't know if you agree or not.
No, I agree. I agree with you on that one. Right. We're going to move on to the European run. So more so, with Manchester United winning the League Cup, this does now mean that the permutations for European football have changed in the Premier League. Also, with the fact that the FA Cup as well, that permutation will obviously change as well. So at the very least, this is what it currently looks like. Newcastle United finishing 5th at the moment. If the Premier League season was to end where it would, please, I want to stay in the Premier League. Newcastle obviously would be playing Europa League football. Liverpool would get Conference League football. So that place is being handed down to the next able team. That would be 6th. So 1st through 6th get European football.
I'm fairly certain 6th place is Europa League football in the league position, is it not?
No, not anymore. Not anymore. It would depend on who wins the FA Cup.
Okay.
It's very, very confusing because I believe English football gets the most European places in all of the major leagues in Europe.
But what I'm saying is that usually Europa League, England has two teams in it from league position alone. Because 7th was given to the Conference League.
I will confirm this. Give me a second. Right. We're also going to talk about.
But again, you got to remember, Nicky, as well. It's also dependent on how Manchester United fare in the Europa League as well.
Yep, because they could win it.
If they win the FA Cup, they qualify for the Europa League.
Yes. Right. Here we go. Right, Champions League football. We all know this is the way it's been for ages. The top 4 teams qualify for the group stage proper. That's the Champions League football. The Europa League qualification is that the 5th place team in the Premier League will qualify for the group stage proper. The winners of the FA Cup will qualify for the group stage proper. The Conference League, it says that the EFL Cup winners qualify for the playoff stages. That's changed. Okay. Right. In the event, where is it? I just saw it. If a club wins the UEFA Champions League or UEFA Europa League and finishes inside the top 4, this could be Manchester United. Their qualification for the UCL through their league position is not transferred to another team, so they are confirmed. They are confirmed in. A maximum of 5 Premier League teams are eligible for UCL qualification. That would probably be, say, if like the team in 5th wins the Champions League. Go on, Newcastle. Go on.
Well, essentially, it would be a bit like do you remember when Tottenham got dropped out of the Champions League because Chelsea won it in 2012?
Yes.
They had to change it to if, for example, Newcastle won it in 5th place, they would also get into the Champions League as the 5th team, with Tottenham also qualified for the Champions League, because a lot of people were saying that's unfair. It's kind of.
Right. This is going to be very, very wordy. Here we go. So the UEFA Europa League group stage place for league position will be this is for the FA Cup, will be in addition to the one for the club finishing 5th and to the places in the Europa and Conference League respectively for the FA Cup and EFL Cup winners, or for the highest ranked clubs not qualified for UEFA competitions in the Premier League if the FA and or EFL Cup winners have already qualified through league position. So, who are the Premier League clubs still in the FA Cup?
Manchester United, Manchester City. Brighton are still in the FA Cup as far as I know.
Sorry. Bit of an involuntary. Right, so we've got Brighton, correct on that one. We have Manchester City. We have Manchester United and Fulham. And we have... That's it, because the rest are Championship.
And one is League Two.
Town.
And one is League Two.
Yes, Grimsby Town. Come on, Grimsby. We're all pulling for you. Please. Oh, isn't it? I believe it. I think the quarterfinals are this weekend.
Next weekend, because... No, yeah, they're this weekend. Sorry, you're right. They're this weekend.
Yes, because there are held up games because of fixture clashes. Anyway, it does now mean the permutations are crazy. Let's just say that. Let's just agree on that. The permutations for European football this season for our league are insane. Manchester United look like they're pretty much going to get European football no matter what, because they've already won the EFL Cup, so that means they get Conference League. They're going to go for but they're also in the Europa League, and they've got a very strong chance of winning that. Very much looks like that they will finish inside the top 4. So that means Champions League football. So all 3 up for grabs. They could do it. Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, Man United also have a game in hand as well, which helps in their favour of getting beyond the reach of Tottenham and Newcastle. Newcastle also have 2 games in hand over Tottenham, so they are definitely looking over their shoulders, are the Spurs. Do we see Tottenham hearing the glory music, that special theme song?
Which, the Conference League music?
Because let's look at the teams around them. Let's give a broad look. You've got pretty much, you can say, depends on your opinion of what you want to say, you've got from 10th to 6th who are not inside the places at the moment, could go on a run. Chelsea have 2 games in hand over Tottenham Hotspur. Brentford have 2. Chelsea have 1 game in hand. Brentford have 2. Brighton have 3 games in hand. A full 9 points puts them on 48 points. They're going. Oh God, they're going to get European football. I really hope we win tomorrow. I really do.
I wouldn't go that far, because if you look at their running, it isn't that straightforward for them. That's the great thing about it. Is that apart from playing us, they still have to play Brentford, so they do have a team in and around them. They've got to play Tottenham and Chelsea and City and Arsenal. So there are a few stumbling blocks, and Villa as well, by the way. So there are a few teams in and around them that if results don't go their way,
it can go down in flames. But
which, please God, if there is a God, please.
So we can pretty much say anyone can qualify. On the outside, there is an outside chance for Chelsea.
At the minute, it's an open horse race, but realistically, you'd kind of expect the teams that are in the top 6 at the minute to secure European football.
Okay.
I hate to say it, and I feel awful saying it, but they do have an outside chance. It's killing me to say it, don't get me wrong. Hope to God their season capitulates as of tomorrow, because that would just be the best thing ever, because there has to be an end to this madness. There has to be an end to the madness that is this football club that we support. But, you know, they've had a fantastic season. It kills me to say it, but the truth is the truth. Brighton have had a fantastic season. Fulham, I wouldn't be against them getting it. If Fulham and Brentford got European football ahead of Chelsea, that would just be hilarious. I'm sorry. It would just be hilarious. I'm not even going to front. Now, Chelsea can still mathematically still go on to win the Champions League, believe it or not. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do it, because I think Tuchel kind of got them over the line when they played City. But Villa, possible outsiders, but Villa would need a mad run for it to go in their favour.
Right. So when it comes to Aston Villa, here's my opinion. They are not going down. They are not going up. I think they are. You can safely say that they are the first team that are comfortably in that little tiny little slot that are safe. Not gonna do much. So I'm gonna kind of leave Aston Villa out of this. Nathan, just before we move on to the next race, I would like for you. So say the Premier League season ends in the mad way that it will. Say I would like you to give me your potential 3rd to 6th, please. Who do you see finishing in those places for the European races?
Okay, so I'll go from 1st to 6th because that would probably be a better representation of the table. I will say Arsenal will win the league, but it'll be by a whisker. It won't be a runaway points gap because I think City do have enough in them to draw Arsenal to the last minute. Ideally, another Aguero moment would be wonderful because that would really put the Premier League race into perspective. But I would say Arsenal will win the league. City will finish just behind them, but again, not by a great distance. Manchester United will finish 3rd. I think they've got enough in them to see it off, personally speaking. Newcastle to finish 4th because the added motivation and the feel-good factor around the club, it's going to be opposite to Tottenham because the Tottenham fan base are very toxic at the minute. There's a real negative vibe around Tottenham. So I think Newcastle will piggyback off of the good feeling that the fans have had this season. Tottenham to finish 5th. But again, that could interchange with Liverpool because both teams are a bit in a mess at the minute. So it depends on which Tottenham and which Liverpool teams turn up towards the end of the season. A little bit like the real Slim Shady. Kind of need that to work in their favour or not. But I'll say Tottenham 5th, Liverpool 6th. But again, and I don't want this to happen because I'll never, ever hear the end of it, Brighton could sneak in there if either Tottenham or Liverpool F up. So preferably, I need Spurs to not be Spursy, big ask. And I need Liverpool to actually turn up to be Liverpool for once and not be a bunch of, well, yeah, you know where I'm going with this. But yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
Arsenal,
Right.
City, United, Tottenham, Newcastle, Liverpool. So Arsenal, City, United, Newcastle, Tottenham, Liverpool is my top 6.
Okay, thank you very much. I completely agree. That is the exact same for me. Exact same, word for word. That's how I see the Premier League table finishing. Right, so we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you see. So, Aston Villa, like we said, pretty much safe. That little number there. And then you just look at the huge 8-point gap to here, to 12th and 13th, respectively, Crystal Palace and Wolves.
Little caveat, 3 of those 8 points were gifted to them by Charity Professional Football Club. So let's just get that out of the way.
Yes. So, 3 points here changes the landscape for any team in any given position. Say 3 points for Southampton takes them around about here to the 14th, 16th, 15th, 16th mark. Just around there.
Depending on their goal difference, it will need a massive.
Depending on their goal difference, yes, of course. I know. I do see that. Minus 21. 3 points for Bournemouth, or 3 points for West Ham, respectively. We'll say West Ham, respectively, for this point. 3 points for them could take them as high as 12th. So it is all to play for. With some teams have 12, some teams have 11 games to go. This relegation race, I see this going down to the final day. I would like to say, in my heart of hearts, I don't see us going down. So we'll highlight here. I don't see us going down, but there is a lot that needs to be addressed at the club. Perhaps a separate video on that can be done later on. Wolves. I believe that they have enough talent and enough momentum now to see them comfortably in for another season of the Premier League. They've got a manager who knows what he's doing. They just need the squad to, up their game a little bit. They need to wake up a little bit because they've fallen asleep recently. If not, they could very well go down. Nottingham Forest. Their home form is looking good, and their home form is what's keeping them in 14th right now. Their away form, however, is shocking. It contributes to a lot of that number there. 12 losses.
Yeah, but you know what's concerning me about that away form? Who do
Is
they play away from home on the final day of the season?
exactly. They do play Crystal Palace on the last day.
And we
This,
know what's
however,
coming with that, don't we? What's that? They haven't won in 45 Premier League games of football away from home. Oh yeah, we know we've been here before. We know what's coming. We know what's coming.
This, however, the minus 26 goal difference can work in a lot of teams' favour. A lot of teams will be looking at that number and thinking, okay, we've got something to work with here. Same as Bournemouth's minus negative 26 as well. Everton, they've hired Sean Dyche. They've got in someone who knows how to stay up, sort of. It does look like they've got momentum, obviously. They did go up a place. They were 18th before, and their 1-0 win sent them as high as 15th. Leicester. Leicester. 12 games to go. I'm going to keep saying this because it's for my own benefit, because I keep thinking, oh, they're gone. They're gone. I'm going to say that they stay up. I see this staying the way it is. Largely. Leicester West Ham needs to pick up.
Disagree.
Okay, go straight in.
I think Forest, although they're probably guaranteed a win at Selhurst Park on the final day of the season because it's charity professional football club. I don't even know why I'm trying to go over for that, because I'm just building myself up for a fall. But having said that, you look at the fact that they can't do really well away from home. That's a problem, because home form is great, but home form alone won't keep you in the Premier League. You're only given 19 games at home. So, I'm fairly certain you still need a few more away wins for that. They'll get one on the final day of the season. Don't worry about it. I know what's coming. Everton, yes, Sean Dyche is a relegation avoiding expert, but Everton as a football club right now from top to bottom are absolutely rotten to the very core. Relegation might actually prove to be the best thing for the club, because it will clear a lot of people out that should have gone a long time ago. Do I see it happening? No. But part of me thinks that they've kind of, they really didn't do themselves any favors by hiring Frank Lampard. Yes, great player, fantastic ambassador for Premier League football, and all he achieved in the Premier League at Chelsea and to a lesser extent at West Ham and Manchester City. But we're seeing it with Vieira. Sometimes the best players don't make the greatest of managers. Now, does that mean that Dyche can't keep Everton in the league? Of course he can. He did it for years and years and years with nowhere near the amount of money that Everton had given him, like he did at Burnley. But eventually, what happened at Burnley? His luck ran out, and Burnley were eventually relegated. Granted, not by any means because they were poor, but because it just happens. And unfortunately, if you're not prepared to spend as much as other teams are, you get found out. And Everton, as we mentioned earlier on in the show, with a new stadium on the way, they can't afford relegation. But on the flip side, it could be the best thing for them, because it might clear out a lot of people that should have gone a long time ago. The others that you mentioned there, Leicester and West Ham are hanging precariously over that drop zone. And because they're still not really, like, the London Stadium can't be a championship stadium, because if they drop into the championship, that's a massive embarrassment for the West Ham ownership, because the whole point of them moving there was that would give them European football season in, season out. But 60,000 seater in the championship, you'd be lucky to get 30,000 there for home games. Because let's be real, championship football is not a big sell like Premier League football. So for West Ham's sake, they need to hope that there are 3 teams worse than them. And at the minute, it's not a far race between them and the 3 behind them. That's what I think.
Yeah. So we have Bournemouth, Leeds, and Southampton in the drop zone. Southampton, I mean,
They've been treading water for years, haven't they? Really, let's be clear.
Really, they have. Southampton. I'm not gonna lie. This also speaks for Leeds as well. If you have 2 or more managers in a single season, you are asking to be relegated. You maybe asking is the wrong word. You are begging for relegation. You might as well just accept your fate because more than 2 managers, they've had 3 managers, the respective teams. It's balmy because you're coming into a season with players knowing how to play. Obviously, with Southampton, they had Hasenhüttl. They understood his system. He gets sacked. They go for Nathan Jones. Balmiest idea they've ever had. Obviously, during their domestic cup runs, very, very successful. They had
let's not speak about Southampton and their cup run, shall we?
um
I don't want to be reminded of that, to be truthful.
But then the fan base turns on him very, very quickly because their league form is terrible because you've hired a Championship League manager.
They've hired a lesser version of Alan Pardew. I mean, it's eerily familiar. Does brilliantly in the cup, but in the league,
just
bleh. People, look at Crystal Palace's second half of the 15-16 season. Great FA Cup run, shocking league run.
Exactly.
That's what Southampton had to put up with. Sorry, Nick, I don't mean to cut
very
you
nearly
off.
Relegated. Leeds, they went from... Was Bielsa sacked this season? I don't think he was.
No, last season, Jesse Marsh.
Jesse Marsh, right. So you can ignore the 3 manager comment about Leeds because they've only had the 2.
I'll just double check for you. Just bear with me there.
Yeah. Leeds, they've gone from Jesse Marsh, someone who was doing quite well. They weren't in that relegation zone too much. They were they were up and down. And then all of a sudden he's sacked. Probably had something to do with the fact that they've lost 13 games. Their scoring record isn't great. But scoring 31 goals, you're out of all these teams here, it's the second highest scoring tally. So it's not that they know how to score the goals. It's just conceding, not great. But they've strengthened up front. They strengthened in the midfield. Losing Rafinha has probably contributed as the reason why they are in the spot that they're in. Bournemouth, I think every single pundit, every single fan of every single club knew this was going to be a struggle for Bournemouth. They've got... Obviously, they sacked Scott Parker. Gary O'Neill took over. And instantly, the aura around the club changed for Bournemouth. Critical results. The Liverpool game being one of them. Bournemouth could very well stay up. It is all to play for Bournemouth. I'm not going to write them off. I'm not going to write any team off yet because we've still got 12 game weeks to go. Bournemouth, however, need to continue on with this amazing run that they've had. Because if they are able to send any one of these teams down, they will be giant killers. That is a giant killing. Let it be said. Because Premier League mainstays. They've just come up, but they've been waiting for this run for the longest time. Premier League mainstays, but on by time. They have not improved since their league, since they were just pretty much raised out by Chelsea. They've taken all their good players. I want to talk to you from Nathan's perspective on West Ham United. Should they go down? I don't think they'll have like 30,000 people just turn up for their 60,000 seater. I think they'll still sell out. It's West Ham. They're one of those rare clubs that everyone in the area stops, goes to go see West Ham. It's
No,
one
but
of those
what I'm
things.
saying, Nicky, is that it's hard to sell Huddersfield at home in the Championship.
Oh yeah, but it's
Nobody
still
wants
be a
to
sellout
watch
crowd.
Huddersfield on a cold Tuesday night in Stratford. Let's be clear about that. In the Premier League, they get record attendances because it's Premier League football. But bear in mind, when you do get relegated, you still see a drop in your attendances.
Oh, you will see a drop in your attendances. Obviously, it's
Now,
you're always going to lose.
I may be over exaggerating when I say 30,000, but they won't be getting 60,000.
You are going to lose those armchair fans. Let's call
Oh,
them.
yeah. By a country distant mile. You won't have 60,000 at every home game. Not a prayer.
What it will do. So there are obviously the massive negative of relegation is you are not in the Premier League no more. You will not get tens of millions, maybe even going into the hundreds of that revenue.
Parachute payments.
The plus there is a plus to this. There are pros to relegation. One, it cuts out a lot of your toxic fan base, the ones who are only there because you're in the Premier League. Two, shows how loyal your fans and players are. The players that stay are the ones that you want to keep around. They're the ones who know what it's like. They want to get back up. Three, it cuts a lot of your hanger-ons. You can't have a hanger-on player there. You need, because you're going to be playing 46 games at least next season. You're going to have your squad going. So there are pros and cons to relegation. At least in my point of view, there are. And hey, you get to play in the second most exciting league in England. There's a new winner every year. What's not to like? I do love the Championship. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to see us there. Let it be known. I'm not asking for relegation. I'm asking for the Premier League. But Championship is always fun. So Nathan, before we finish, I would like you to give me your bottom three, please. From 18th down to 20th, please. Actually, that I would like from descending order. Bit more difficult this one, isn't it? Bournemouth for 18th. Okay, we've got Bournemouth locked in. 19th, please.
Leeds, I think the current bottom three. But
you think the current bottom three?
However, again, West Ham United are not by any means out of the woods.
No.
All it takes is one of any of those getting a jump on Bournemouth, on West Ham, sorry, and they're right in the thick of it.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm highlighting this game here.
Again, that's what I'm saying is that. That's what I'm saying is that I personally see West Ham maybe just surviving, but for a club like West Ham, that should not be the case. Bear in mind, the whole point of them moving to the London Stadium was that they'd be regularly competing at the top end of the table, not the bottom end of the table. And look, most West Ham fans deep down probably would love to play Millwall twice next season, but ideally they'd want them in the Premier League. And I would love Millwall in the Premier League purely for the fact that it'd be good to have an actual derby in the Premier League for the first time in God knows how long, because Brighton's just a rivalry game. I don't know why people call it a derby. It just gets up my back when people call it a derby.
I know. Well, as you can see here, I'm just going over these teams as next game that you can see on the right hand side of your screen, viewers. You see there are some critical games, especially for these 8 teams. I believe it was it. Excuse me. Oh, a bit of an audio sneeze there. So yeah. Aston Villa Bournemouth, critical game. We just highlighted that West Ham, critical game right there. Stay tuned for that game on the 2nd of April. That is going to be big. Wolves' next game is against Leeds. Critical game yet again. Because 3 points there is huge. And of course, it's the same for Leeds. And of course, we already know probably the biggest game of our season is tomorrow night. A win there.
But our next 2 are just not what we need right now.
No, they're not. But at the same time, I'm going to excuse this. I'm going to excuse it because second season syndrome. That's all I'm calling it. I'm calling it second season syndrome. That's the reason why.
Yeah. I hear that. But like,
Yeah.
To go into this game now, still without a win, I'm thinking, even if we do get it tomorrow, like, yes, it will feel great for 24 hours, but there's still Arsenal on the weekend. So you don't even get the benefit of, right, we've got another winnable game straight after. It's like, oh, joy. And to be honest, I want to be confident for tomorrow, but I think you and I are both sharing the same sentiment. I just hope we're not embarrassed, because it could get ugly. But anyway, people, we might leave it there because unfortunately time is running against us at the minute. So what we'll do is, Nicky, take it away.
So you can find me. I'm not going to do the pointing because I did it last time. And I messed it up. So where can you find me? You can find me at Saint of Selhurst here on YouTube. I have got my first video sometime. You can also follow me at Saint of Selhurst on Instagram and at Selhurst Saint on Twitter. And last but not least, at Saint of Selhurst Twitch on Twitch. There we go. There's where you can follow me. Please subscribe. Please.
Well, I'm not going to do the pointing thing either because I'm not getting clipped like Nicky was. I'm just not doing that. That's not me. But you know where to find me, at Nate Eyed on Twitter. You know where to find me and all that. Eagle-eyed football. I'm always talking ish. And with that being said, people, only one thing left to say. 1 second, let me just take myself off main screen. There we go. That's more like it. Only one thing left to say. Where's that damn thing again? See, this is the thing. See, your judge has hit me now. Oh, no, I have it here. People, he's Eagle-eyed Nick. I'm Eagle-eyed Nate. And more importantly, we're Eagle-eyed football.
You pointed the wrong way, by the way.
Don't care.
You were that. 1 minute 16. Oh, yes. Right, guys. Thank you very much for
Nicky,
watching.
celebrating the smallest of things to make himself feel big. Why does this not surprise me?
I did it.
Yeah, like Madio Sane. Just so you know, people, the genetics went wrong with him. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, dear. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Premier League Review Show. We will see you next week. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.